Welcome, everyone, to Uplifting Humans, where we honor, empower, educate, and inspire the listener. I'm Cylindrin Buller, your host. And of course, our guest today is Galiya Iskakova. She was born and raised in a Muslim country, and she immigrated to the US 7 years ago. A life coach and an owner of a dance school, she has worked on self-development since the age of 16. Previously married, now divorced, her passion is to serve humanity. Well connected in the coaching, psychology, and transformation circles, she's proud to call herself a woman's happiness coach. She leads collaborative events online and has a private practice. Matilda?
And hello, I'm the host of Coffee with Matilda, A Journey to Self. And Salina, and today I'm very excited. We have a beautiful guest today and about a topic that it's very fascinating for me. And I'm sure a lot of people have issues with this, or they face this kind of problems with their family members or close friends. We're going to talk about cheating.
Oh,
And
yes.
our relationship with it. And it's very unique. The pain is very universal, and I'm very happy that we're going to talk with our guests today to understand what is cheating and how people manage in this kind of a drama. And do couple come out strong, or they separate, and why people cheat? I think these are interesting questions that we can ask from Galiya, and have conversation with each other to maybe understand and share this opinion with our audience as well. So hopefully they can benefit it too.
Welcome, Galiya. So jump right in, my dear. Tell us more about what you're doing nowadays, and then we'll get on to our subject here.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very honored to be here. I'm very excited. It's a very deep topic, and I'm very happy after you introduce yourself and tell me about what you do, ladies. I was very excited to connect to you and be part of your project because it's amazing what you do. I want to acknowledge you for that. Thank you so much for giving this gift to humanity too. I love and respect powerful women, and I want to say that right now I'm working as a coach. I mostly do one-on-one sessions with my clients, and I also coach people through dance, and I also coach couples and giving them counseling.
So when you say you actually coach through dance, just for the listening audience out there, can you give us, what does that mean? Coaching through dance. I've heard of coaches who use art as a form of therapy to actually heal themselves, but how does dance play into this?
Yes, absolutely. I would be happy to say more about that. I started basically, I will have to jump a little bit into history in order for me to explain what it is. So I'm coming from a business background. I've been a business, manager for many years. Opening up businesses for investors.
Nice.
And then I realized I want to do something else. I want to do something for people actually that makes me more fulfilled, that makes me feel that I fulfill my purpose, that I serve people, that I help women just like me, who's maybe lost at some point of their life or struggling with something. So I started thinking, what can I do? And as a business for a while, I had a dance studio. And then I deepened myself. You said in the beginning that I was working on self-development ever since I was 16.
Yes.
But at that moment of my life, I took it even deeper, and I was doing a lot of transformational work and different stuff like that. So I have realized that dancing is not just to move your body. It's not just a small thing to teach people how to move their bodies.
Yes.
And I'll give you an example right there so you understand how I connected coaching, therapy, and dancing all together. For those who are interested to take this type of coaching, and it's also, yes, it is an art therapy in a way.
Yes.
So I noticed one of my students, he was living with his girlfriend in the different cities. They were traveling back and forth, and he was taking private classes with me, dance classes. And I'm coming from a Muslim country, as you mentioned before, which in my opinion, we are more traditionals in how we roll the relationships. So the man is a leader and the woman is a follower.
We'll talk
Not in a
about,
bad way, you know?
hey, Matilda, talk about cultural, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I'm coming from a Muslim country as well. I'm coming from Iran. Actually, me and you were neighbors.
wow,
You're from
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Kazakhstan, and then Matilda, you obviously are also from that neck of the world. But you know, back in the day, they all kind of started to move, and they ended up in India. So of course, we have the same sort of mentality.
Exactly. So I noticed from my client, you know, that, and when I moved to United States, when I started, you know, dancing has always been just my biggest hobby. That's how I fulfill, you know, my heart, my soul. It's just something that takes me to a different level. And I started noticing that a lot of women, and no offense right now, ladies, some women are struggling to trust and surrender to their partner. And that's very noticeable on a dance floor. And how the man, unfortunately, is struggling to step up and take the lead in the dance, just like in life. Because women have become, especially here in the United States, again, no offense, just my observation from people that I worked with, from situations that I've been through, women are too independent. For example, like I will be dating someone and I'll say, why didn't you open the door for me in the car when we arrive to a restaurant? And he will tell me, because I'm afraid that you're going to complain about that. And that was shocking me in the beginning, you know, because I was like, what is that about, really? And
Mm-hmm.
then I started realizing, and few people, actually, few men, sometimes my clients, sometimes my friends, explained to me that women are very independent in the United States, you know. And I'm assuming not only in the United States, I only lived in two countries, which is completely opposite in my country. And I was just surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So then through dance, I started coaching men to step up and, you know, lead, and women to relax and surrender, believe it or not. But sometimes I will have to, when I coach the couple on a dance floor, sometimes I will have to tell a lady to close her eyes, because otherwise they don't release the control. They just keep going, you know, and they're trying to control everything around. So then I say, okay, now your man is taking the lead, and you relax, trust, and surrender.
And that's a beautiful, beautiful process to allow them to be vulnerable and to allow them to see the survival mechanism, which is built into their system. And again, it's the environment. It's not necessarily, you know, the parenting. It is the environment, because let's face it, you know, there's women's libs, rights, and it goes on and on and on. But we're living in a very unique time. And in this unique time, you know, you look at the masculine and feminine, and you look at, you know, there's a lot of males that are now having to let go of their control, because their control isn't what's keeping that woman there, and it isn't the control of a woman that's keeping the man there either. So it's a real fine dance, and balance has to be created between who's leading and who's following, and that's the dance of life. And so I find it really beautiful, very fascinating, very, very fascinating.
Um, Galiya, I've danced Argentinian tango,
Oh,
and at
wow.
the beginning they were telling us, I mean, how to learn is not to close the eyes, because you need to just surrender, and the surrender part was the most difficult part. I mean, the moves you learn, but the surround. And my teacher was always saying the American culture doesn't allow women to dance tango very well, because it's the surrounding part that is very difficult. They like to control. But like women in other cultures, they learn tango easily, because there are, like, some cultures, the women are so in tune to be vulnerable and surround themselves, that tango is not very difficult dance for them. So it's interesting that you're mentioning. And actually, I think when people are cheating, it's another way of controlling the situation, no?
Trying to control it. Yeah. They're trying to control. They feel like they're in charge of what's happening with them.
So statistically, do you feel that there's more men or more women, or is it kind of an average that it's like they're 50-50 male and female that are actually out there playing the field?
No, unfortunately, it's not so. About 54% of married men, and again, there's a difference because in relationships, the cheating percentage is even more, believe it or not. Yeah, than marriages. And women, about 37% of women are cheating.
And this is in the States, or is this global?
It's in the States. It's
in the
States.
States.
But
37.
maybe,
Matilda,
maybe,
did you hear that? 37%. We're catching up.
but maybe women are more better cheaters, so that's why the percentage is down. How about that?
But you know what, ladies, another thing also is to understand what is considered cheating.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting topic to talk about, in my opinion, because sometimes cheating for someone in a couple, and that's actually, as a coach, I can tell you straightforward, that's something that you need to make sure from the very beginning and have very clear and honest agreement with your partner. Hey, if I kiss another girl, is that cheating? Hey, if I have sex with another woman, is that cheating? Hey, whatever. And then everybody's having agreements.
That's right. The definition of cheating is so vast. Some individuals actually turn around, they say, well, it's not really cheating unless you've committed the full act. And others, the minute you are flirting and looking at someone the wrong way, that is considered a big no-no. Yeah. So that's a huge thing that you've just actually given our audience is, have you defined what you would consider acceptable and what you would consider unacceptable?
Exactly.
Because people's boundaries are different, no? So it comes back to the boundaries.
Absolutely. It's always about boundaries. If you don't set your boundaries and, in the very beginning, your level of like trust, you cannot talk about strong relationships. Funny enough, sorry, go ahead.
And I think, I think it's very important, boundaries, not only about cheating, just to understand how you respect things. Because if boundaries are not clarified at the beginning, there are going to be lots of problems coming up. Cheating, the fidelity part is one of them. I don't know how to respect the other person, how to maybe even share love with each other can be even questionable. So I think me and Salindran, we have beautiful series of fires of relationship, and we started with self-mastery. And I think once you have the self-mastery, you already define and you declare to universe, this is my boundaries in every element. And when you are very clear about your own boundaries, other people respect your boundaries as well.
That's incredible what you say. And if they don't respect them, then you can make a decision whether you want to be with these people or not. Then there is no, gap between what you're expecting and what is present.
So Galiya, is there when you give those statistics of the male versus the females in the States, is there are they looking at a particular group of individuals and what their boundaries are when they establish that? Or is that just, it could be anything, but it's because they've considered, this is happening to me, whatever this is?
It's different. There's different statistics out there.
Mm-hmm.
Some break down the statistics just taking the certain age, because it's also very, very different depending on, funny enough, like age 18 to 29 is happening the most cheating in the lives of human.
Really?
Yes, for men and women.
Wow.
18 to 29. Yes.
18 to 29. So listen up, listeners.
Yeah.
And I think it also has a lot to do with, emotional intelligence and, generally speaking, your maturity level.
That's
because you're trying here and there, probably the person, not you. The person probably trying here and there, like, how does it feel? How would it be? What if I lie? What if I tell the truth? So people trying to understand their own boundaries as well.
Well, they're
You know,
learning about themselves, are they not, Galiya?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that what it's all about? It's
yeah,
really about yourself.
I don't want to go too deep because I can go to a spiritual level of that, and as I told you over the phone, like, in my personal opinion, when the person cheats on someone, first of all, they're cheating on their own selves.
Yeah.
Ah, there
Because
you
at
go.
some
Yes, of
point,
course.
yes, they were not honest with themselves. They
Yes,
were not honest with their partner. They
yes.
didn't request something. They didn't create a clear boundary. They didn't speak up. So then, sure enough, they had to make this choice.
Well, they didn't know themselves. That's what it came down to. Is
Yeah.
they
Self
didn't.
mastery.
That's right.
Yes,
That's
there you
right.
go.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they
You
didn't know
know,
themselves. So
I believe that too as well, because I feel like when somebody is cheating on you, they've cheated before. I mean, they've crossed the boundaries before, they've shown their red lights before, but because you weren't so assertive about who you are, you weren't loving yourself enough, you let those red lights, you allow them to pass these red lights, and you weren't even realizing lots of things. Sometimes we don't even listen to our feeling, that voice inside us, and we
Yeah,
just ignore it because we want to, like, to have this relationship for whatever reason we're trying to have. And it's interesting, I always say, before someone cheats on you, you already cheated on yourself gazillion times before that happened. So the boundaries and who you are, the love that you have for yourself, has to be very, very strong, and the root has to be strong. Otherwise everyone is cheating on you. I mean, your parents can cheat on you too. I mean, just physical cheating is not. People crossing their boundaries with you is, in a way, cheating. No?
yeah, yes, yes.
yeah, so Galia, in the States, do you feel now that we're in this time frame where people are having to spend more time together? How is that affecting these statistics? Are they rising, do you feel?
You
Or
know,
are they decreasing because they're locked up?
yeah. Unfortunately, the statistics are not too different.
Yes.
Not unfortunately, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not that different. The only thing that changed a lot is online cheating. So online
Oh,
cheating went up a lot. And it's again for people what they consider cheating, because some people might say, and I heard that before, they would say, hey, you know what? He's texting with some girl in Bolivia, I don't know, some other country that is not,
Yeah.
even close, and I don't care. As long as they don't have nothing, as long as they just chatting and flirting and doing some funny stuff online, I don't care.
Oh,
These
goodness.
things went up. But
Wow.
what is really sad is that divorce rate went up big time.
Oh, wow. So when you say big time, is that like 10% more than
I think
normal?
it's about, right now it's about more than 20%.
Wow. That's huge. That's a huge number.
It's very
And
sad.
is it, and do you feel that as a coach, do you feel that it's because they were never true to themselves and that they've gone ahead now and exposed who they truly are? Or are they actually really questioning, am I going to be spending the rest of my life unhappy with this
this
individual,
human.
right? Like,
Yeah.
what do you feel about that?
There's many different reasons. Some couples just realize that they cannot pretend anymore, because when you
I love
distracted, when you distracted, you go for work, you go on vacation, you're with the family. It's just at the end of the day, it's comfortable. But then when you have to spend 24/7 together, like, you cannot lie anymore. Like, you have to face what is not working between you guys. And if you cannot manage to make it work, then the choice is obvious. But at some, and I'm not for divorces, even though I'm divorced, never I am. But when things are not working and you try your best, I always speak with my clients when they're starting to tell me about like, oh, I think we should divorce, we're so different, or whatever the reason is. I'm always say, first of all, you need to be sure that you did 100% possible from your side to keep your family or to keep your marriage, that you left everything on the field to make this work if you committed.
Yes.
And then start to think about that. But until you feel that you've tried everything, then I don't give suggestions to my clients, but I always take this topic to the understanding of bringing it to awareness, like what have you done? Even though a lot of people come in to complain about their partners most of the time, you know.
Yes, yes. Do you have an example for us? Like, give us an example. I'm sure that the male side of the story is completely different than the female.
It is
Share with us, yeah.
the male, believe it or not, two main reasons why men cheating is sexual, and second of all is emotional, because some men don't seem to be open up to their partners because, and this is a big mistake unfortunately of the partners, the women are again either too independent, either too dependent, or too controlling, so they become their moms. And men cannot stand that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Listen up, ladies. Pay attention now. We've got a real life coach here who has examples to share with us as well. But that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a couple, believe it or not, and the guy actually cheated on her just out of interest. He never cheated on anyone. He never did.
What do you mean out of interest?
He just wanted to feel how it feels to cheat on someone.
It's an experiment. Matilda was an experiment.
He never done it in his whole entire life, and he said, "I just wanted to try it." He wasn't in love. He just wanted to, experiment and try how it feels. So then he couldn't hold it back not to tell his partner. And she was very upset and she tried to break the relationship, but then they decided to stay together. But the next thing she did, she cheated on him.
Ooh.
So a lot of women,
I like that.
believe it or not, but interesting.
She just said, I just cheated for the sake of it, to see how it feels. What kind of them?
Crazy enough, this couple is still together.
Wow.
They found, the power in each other. They found a way to communicate, to forgive each other. And a lot of women, actually, you'll be surprised, they cheated as a revenge, just to revenge their partner.
Well, you know what? Actually, I can see that happening, because if you feel that you've been cheated on and all of a sudden the other end can't comprehend what it feels like to be cheated on, now you're going to show them this is how it feels. And I probably, so what is the take? Do you feel that on the receiving end, when you have been cheated on, do you feel that there's a complete different outlook, or is it some form of understanding?
For who? For who?
For the person who was cheated on. The not the cheater, but the one who was cheated on. Is there a level of understanding that actually kicks in at some point? Oh, I forgive you. Maybe it was my fault, and da 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 da. Do you feel like that kicks in as well?
Sometimes. Again, it really depends on the person. Some women or some men, they can really understand it. I had another example that I was, I think, telling Matilda earlier, that I have another example when the lady find out that her husband is cheating on her with someone from work, and she just walked away. She took her stuff, she walked away. She never, in her entire life, until these days, I know her for many years, she never have forgiven him.
Oh, wow.
And they had a family, they had kids, but she just turned around and walked away. So it really depends on the person. It really depends, how they feel about themselves, what is their cultural background, I believe, what is their religion, 2, so many different aspects. It really depends on how a person takes it. Some people might forget it because for some women, like as an example before, for this couple, for lady was the same. She said, we're no different. Yes, we both cheated on each other, but we went through this stage and we moved on. We never talk about it. We have forgiven each other. And again, forgiveness is a big part of the cheating.
Huge, huge. I could only
Do you think,
imagine.
do you think
Because
this woman that way, if she would have cheated, would have forgave him or not? They
Depends.
would have kept the family, maybe.
It's really, really
Maybe keeping the family would have been more important than just one time of
I can only give
wrong
you a
decision.
personal opinion. I cannot give you the opinion of others because for each person is this certain level of confidence, a certain level of their boundaries again, and self-mastery as well. In our religion, unfortunately, not a religion, in my country, unfortunately, sometimes when the man cheat on you, even your mom tells you, hey, don't pretend that you don't know anything.
mm,
My mother-in-law, I don't know if she ever gonna watch it or not, hopefully not, my ex-mother-in-law, she told me in front of my ex-husband, right straight into my face, hey, if he ever gonna cheat on you, don't be stupid. Don't even show him that you know.
and why would that be? I have a
The
hard time.
family is more important.
Sorry?
Sorry, what is important?
She said the family is more important.
Oh, wow. So you're prioritizing your life and the comfort of it, and so you're expected culturally to turn a blind eye to this.
Yeah,
Wow. You see,
yeah,
Matilda and I would have a problem with that.
of
I
course.
would go and chop something there.
Well,
Well, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm sorry for a woman in that position because you put down your self-worth as a
Yeah,
woman goes down.
yeah.
Forget about what the guy does. At the end, when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, your self-worth, your self-confidence for your other things in life, your other events in your life goes down. And that's not something that you can fix it that easily. That
Yeah.
scar is carved in your heart and it's going to be very difficult to go away, and your children can suffer from it. Even that husband will suffer in other passive aggressive way.
Could be. Matilda, but funny enough, some women are not like that. It doesn't touch them.
it doesn't
Believe
matter.
it or not. No, some women say, yeah, I know he's cheating. I don't mind.
Well, it's interesting you say that because locally here, I'm going to share a story with you gals and the listeners out there. Um, a very well-to-do, very prominent individual who has businesses all over the country and as well as internationally. Uh, I mean, very, very well-to-do. Okay. This individual got married and he ended up having a couple of kids. And of course, he went up to his wife and he was very open about it. I don't like you. I have kids with you. And I'm going to give you materially everything you need. You never have to work a day in your life, but I am going to spend my time doing what I like doing. And if you have a problem with that, that's your problem, not mine. So this particular lady, and these are both educated individuals, this particular lady ended up having to put up with this her whole life. She's still married to the same man who openly admits to the fact that yes, in every country that he's been to and had businesses, he does what he feels like doing. You have a problem with that? I've given you the most luxurious life. If you're not happy with that, you know
Oh
where
my
to
God,
go.
that's good. She can have lovers, young guys.
Not necessarily, unfortunately, because again, talking about Muslim countries, and how men allowed to have a lot of women. Sometimes it comes to no, men can have it. Again, society put this label that men can have as many women as they want, even if they're married, but women cannot.
It's a good thing I'm not living there. How about you? But you know, that's again, it's
I'll make sure that I will have other guys around.
but you know, culturally in whatever, you know, area of the planet that they're on. But yeah, it's amazing because this individual that I'm speaking to, referring to, is they're both now grandparents, and this is still continuing, and it's not like nobody knows. Everybody knows.
Yeah, sometimes even the whole family.
Everybody knows. And it's like he doesn't care, and she refuses to leave. She refuses to leave him because, I mean, you know, for her, maybe the comfort of life and having millions of dollars per month is more important. I have no idea, but that's a tough thing for me to swallow. Give us an example of a female who's been cheating on a male.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to how to tell you the story without, you know, giving too much details, because I know my clients will be listening to me, but like, I don't want anyone to be in any situation, you know. Yes, and again, the most of the time, the situation that I've been through with my clients, it's when they do it as a revenge. You know, when somebody, and again, it's not necessarily needs to be a present partner. Sometimes they have some pain coming from the past when they were cheated on.
Mm-hmm.
And in these new relationships, they just not seems to be, you know, recovered or healed, and they keep doing that.
Wow. And do you feel that there's a lot of male or female that are out there that maybe they witnessed this when they were children and they feel like this is normal, acceptable behavior?
That exists too. That exists too, as well as like being super, you know, honest with your partner and never do nothing.
Yes.
And the same at the same time, sometimes family grow up and it's like, cheating is okay, it's normal. My parents lived all my life, as you make an example of this couple. Yeah, my parents lived like that all my life, and I'm living the same life. I'm not doing something wrong. You know, like, it's so fundamental to, again, self-mastery, of course. But again, when you are raising the kids and when you teaching them the standards, and society does so too, it's important to understand that you're creating actually the future for these humans as well.
Yes.
And the way you do things, they're going to do it after you as well.
Yes.
And there is sometimes a reverse, what we call. Thankfully, there's a reverse that exists too. Sometimes the kids who watch their parents cheating and screaming and fighting and complaining and going to counselor, blah, 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 when they grow up, they're so fed up of this, so they say, no, my strong stand is I never, ever in my life gonna cheat on my wife. Some men choosing to maybe even divorce, you know, when they cheated on someone because they don't feel good about themselves anymore and they cannot overcome that.
Oh, wow.
As well as women. Actually, for women, it's more complicated to forgive themselves if they cheated. They do it more rare, but if they do, it's much more difficult for them to overcome that for
And do
themselves.
you feel it's psychological, or is that more emotional?
It's both. But again, society as well. Because based on society norm, women not supposed to cheat.
What? Oh, that's a tough one, isn't it, Matilda?
Yeah. Gary, I have something to, I mean, I've noticed that men that they cheat, they have very deep problem from childhood with their mom, and vice versa. Like women that cheat, they have very difficult relationship with their fathers. Is that something that you realized it in your coaching?
It is showing up. It is showing up. You know, I've been in one very powerful training where the trainer was a man, and when women asked, the audience had a chance to ask questions from the masters, not masters, but their masters. The one woman asked the question. She said, "Why do men cheat?" And he said, ladies, most of the men, and I want you to remember for the rest of your lives. And now, if a lot of ladies listening to me, I hope you understand that too. He said, most of the men cheat because they have a hole in their heart. Yeah. And they cannot find peace or they cannot find love. And there's the only thing that makes them feel like men. And it has nothing to do with you. So don't you ever take it personal.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
And what about females? Was there a question put why females do that? Because that's male, right?
yeah, that's male. But for females, I feel like, yes, there can be a lot of issues in the past.
With the father, or do you
For
feel that?
father, I feel like when you have issues with a father, you either just don't build relationships almost at all, or you keep repeating the same pattern of doing the relationship that doesn't work over and over and over and over again, or you really, really, really deeply attached to your partner and you appreciate him. And in the couples like that, usually the cheating doesn't happen. Most of the time women cheat because of their revenge again, or because they do not feel emotionally supported.
Yeah.
Maybe
Appreciated, maybe.
yeah, let's say for example, like the women grew up in a family where father was working all the time, making good money, so she had a great life, but she never had his attention. Most likely she's going to attract very similar partner until she heals herself, or doing the self mastery as Matilda loves.
Yeah.
To forgive herself, to forgive her father, to forgive the past and let it all go, and just like don't be attached to her old stories. She will attract the same partner who will work a lot, work a lot, work a lot, and then she will be emotionally unfulfilled. And then she will have no more choice than to go and cheat with a pool cleaner, this sexy young guy who's coming every weekend, or where her husband is at home. So then it's just becoming of like this desire to have the attention,
Right,
because
right.
they
Because
feel
there's an
empty.
emptiness there.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's a void that needs to be filled. But it's interesting. And from your area of expertise, how has the mentality of the masses shifted, say, from 10 years ago to now? Because there's usually a noticeable, you know, curve of something which is shifted in the masses. Have you found that there is this noticeable shift in the cheating world?
I don't look it up that often. I just did because of our podcast mostly, or for my clients. But
Yeah.
you know what I can tell, that I don't know if that's because I'm mostly in the society, in the circles that are like into transformation and bettering themselves all the time, or
Yeah.
getting the help if they cannot manage. I feel like the balance of masculine and feminine, generally speaking, it's becoming to come to a better place in the world today. Like, I feel like masculine is stepping up a little more, and I feel like feminine is easing up and relaxing, and understand that power is not in the control.
Mm-hmm,
The
mm-hmm.
power is really about trusting your power coming from peace and source, coming from, being relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
When I start the training for my ladies, I have online training for the ladies about happiness. It's called The Woman You Always Wanted to Be.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I ask them, what do you feel? And let me ask you actually, ladies, what do you feel happy woman feels? How does she feel? What is the main feeling that she's experiencing within herself?
Freedom.
I think sensual.
Sensual, freedom, all of that. But mostly she feels relaxed.
And you don't feel that unless you actually go ahead and you actually spend time with yourself. So there's a huge gap in there, which society creates, which a relationship can create, which work can create, which a president can create, which and it goes on and on, right? So there is a lot to be said about spending time with yourself, and it goes back to where our roots started with Fires of Relationships, which was all about self-love, and
Exactly.
and that makes a huge difference. But now, as we're coming close to the end of our first session, we want
Oh, already?
yes, and we want the listeners out there to know that Matilda, myself, and Galiya will be back on again for another session. We're going to continue this conversation. In the next conversation, we are going to be discussing telltale signs of if your partner is actually cheating, and telltale signs of if you're actually having the urge to do that yourself. And so Galiya is our expert who's going to come in with some information on how to handle that. And then hopefully, if we're able to carry that conversation forward, we'll also give you some tools on how to make things a little bit better for yourself. So I think for me, out of this conversation, I want to share with with the listening audience and both of you as well. For me, a big thing for me has been always the forgiveness aspect, and that is something that I choose to work on because that is something which requires a deep connection to yourself. Because forgiving someone, you're not forgiving them that what they've done was acceptable and right. You're forgiving and letting go for a peace of mind for yourself. And for me, that has been a real journey. So out of this piece, for all those out there who have forgiven someone, kudos to you. A job well done. I hope that if I am ever in that situation, that I find that strength and that part of me that would forgive. And so that is my big point to take away from our conversation today. Matilda, what's your big takeaway from today?
Self-mastery and boundaries, baby. As long as you know yourself, you know your boundaries. Actually, your partner is well off as well, because they will make sure that they're not walking near those red lights. So it's easier for them to handle you too. So know yourself, know your boundaries, because you are the most beautiful gift for yourself in this world.
Yes, for sure.
And for you, Galiya, what is your big takeaway, or what is your big point for just today's conversation until we carry it forward in our next episode?
I feel like what fascinates me, and maybe it's not very much related to what we're talking about, but what fascinates me about our conversation tonight is that it wears my heart to know there is other people in other countries, other ladies, other powerful ladies trying to understand themselves and trying to understand their life and relationships and trying to carry it on, not trying it, doing it, actually doing it for other women and other people. I really appreciate what you do. My biggest takeaway is that I'm just in such a gratitude that people like you exist, and we are all different but at the same time we're all the same. We're all coming from the same place. We're all related and connected. That's what I'm truly believe in. And I'm very grateful to be in this space with you ladies, and hopefully get some clarity for some people and for ourselves.
And Galiya, what is your website for our listeners out there in case they want to take a little peek into a little bit more about you, and from there we'll go into our wrap-up points.
Absolutely. My website is heartpuzzle.me. So you can go out there. You have my contact information there. You can reach out to me at any time. The reason why I came up with this name is, in my personal opinion, I had to put the pieces of my heart together, not in the sense of like it's been ever broken, but learning things, understanding things, putting things together, psychology, therapy, this and that, society, family, relationship experiences. So then everything comes to one puzzle, and one day you just realize in life, yes, I understand myself, I understand what love is, I understand maybe in some ways who I am in this world.
And I have joy to understand joy.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Very nice.
with yourself and with your heart. When all puzzles comes together.
Galiya, it is lovely to have you. Thank
Thank,
you for coming.
thank you so
I'm
much
very
for inviting me.
excited to see you next week.
I'm very happy to see you ladies next week as well.
I have a lot of questions to get ready. Today was introduction.
Okay, next step is we're gonna go more deep. Okay.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And again, for our listeners out there, Galia's website is heart, as in your heart, and then puzzle.me. I'm Cylindrin Buller, the host of Uplifting Humans, where we honor, empower, educate, and inspire the listener with real stories and expert advice. Until next time, Matilda?
And I'm Matilda, host of Coffee with Matilda, a journey to self. Till next time. Ciao.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.